Everyone, welcome to the newly resurrected Independent Artists United song series. And who inspired this resurrection? WEYWARD, the first guest on the all-new show. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here on the resurrection.
Dude, as I told you in the messages, I had to do a show when I heard this song. I love this song so much. I mean, you could check your Spotify for artists. You could see that I have it on repeat. I'm just walking around with it on repeat. I love it, man.
Hey, I appreciate that. It was a fun song to write, so I'm glad it's resonating.
You know, well, first of all, tell me who the female vocalist is because I just love the quality of her voice so much.
Yeah, the female vocalist is Mrs. Wayward. It's my spouse singing on that. Yeah.
That's
So
what I kind of that's what I theorized because I thought who would say that they don't want credit except for your wife?
yeah, family. So
Yeah,
yeah,
man. Yeah, exactly.
we've done a lot over we've done a lot over the years, but this is the first time she decided she wanted to be on a Wayward track. So
Wow, but what a beautiful
yeah,
voice and such
I
a
agree.
yeah, it's just an amazing quality to her voice. It's just like really, really special. I really love um really love what she added to the track. But
Yeah, I agree.
and two, I have to say because this, I mean, in general, well, you tell me what the track is about. I have my like own idea about, when I hear it, of course, but let me hear you describe it.
Yeah, I mean, the basic idea behind the track was um, just essentially being against banning books, burning books, you know, getting rid of knowledge that people have, and really just trying to dumb down society so that they can be under more control. You know,
Mm,
that's the basic idea behind it. So in my home, we're big readers. I always have 2 to 3 books on my nightstand that I'm reading all at the same time. And whenever things go a little crazy and people start deciding that books are dangerous, that's a scary thing. And
mm.
so it right now felt like the right time to write a song like this.
Yeah, yeah. And and is this taken from your like specific any specific experience that you had? I know you talked a bit in the past about your Mormon experience.
Right. Not necessarily from that, but living in a very religiously conservative state,
Mm.
there's a lot of book banning going on right now.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, crazy laws that are getting passed around like if 3 school districts in the entire state decides to ban a book, the whole state has to. It's
Oh
like
man.
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So it just felt like the right time.
Yeah, and I have to say, whenever, I mean, this is just my own personal feeling, but often I find when it's like an issue kind of song, what you're going at, it can feel like forced, like there's a lot of songs I can think about like that, but this doesn't feel that way at all. Like it's just a great song, and it's about this. You know what I mean? Which I think is
Yeah,
a great thing that you pulled off there.
I was worried about that actually when I was writing the lyrics and then starting to think about how I was going to put them to the song. I was actually quite worried about that because like, is this going to feel forced? Is this going to feel weird? But as soon as the melodies started coming together, yeah, it felt right. So I appreciate
Yeah.
that you saw that
Yeah,
too.
it just flows beautifully. Yeah, yeah. Well, mentioning the lyrics, can you I asked you if you could read the lyrics
Yeah.
chorus because they're great lyrics and they really pack a punch.
Yeah. Yeah, so like in the verses, it's kind of just talking about the whole idea, and then in the chorus, as I've done in the past, I kind of take it to the perspective of the people who are doing
Mm,
the book banning
yeah,
and that type of thing, and so kind of that switching back and forth. But
yeah, that's
first
a great
verse,
device too. Yeah.
yeah, first verse says, "No need for flames to rise, destroy ideas with vacant eyes." Echo chambers deafening, you hear the mindless chorus sing. And then that's where it dives
Mm,
into the chorus. And it says, in the blessed name of ignorance, tear down what we don't understand. We'll never be content or free until the world is just like me.
mm.
So just kind of the idea of um, you know, new thought, new ideas. If someone's scared of them, they want them to go away.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's like
yeah,
gets in the mind of someone that is so like afraid of diversity, really, right? I
yep,
love how you
yep, exactly.
encapsulated that in like that one line until it's just like me, that's like
Yep.
that's the goal.
Yep, yep. Second verse dives in, says, knowledge dies with silent screams, tear perception at the seams, thought regarded as a threat, the echoes pierce like bayonets. And then it dives back into the chorus. There's a section in the song where it's more spoken word. It's kind of supposed to sound like the leader chanting with a big group of people.
Right, right, right.
Um,
That's
and
very effective. Yeah.
Yeah, and that part says, in the blessed name of ignorance, tear down what we don't understand, ban the page, bless the lie, hatred we will deify. Um,
Mm,
and you can take that how you want, but I think there's some deification of hatred happening in the United States right now. So,
yeah.
and then the track shifts at the end, and it's kind of um, you know, the protest piece of the song that finishes out the track. And that part says, "Fill the shelves with all we know,
Mm,
screaming out the songs unsung. Burn this self-righteousness down. We'll light the match with fiery tongue."
mm,
And just kind of saying, enough's enough.
yeah,
It's time to protest. It's time to get out there and change things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Beautiful, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, Yeah, and I love that I love just like the use of different like I don't know what you would call it, It reminds me of like classical music like Wagner. He used these repeating themes that are leitmotif. They're called
Mhm.
leitmotifs. Like like a certain instrument and this that certain melody that cues you into like where this part is kind of coming from, you know what I mean? The way
Right.
you arranged it, like before this part, like you're saying the spoken word part, that like kind of saw synth like comes in, and it's just like
Right.
you instantly know, oh, so this is something different happening here.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think a lot of the times, and I've had a few people comment that way, but a lot of the times I feel almost like I'm scoring a I'm scoring a story versus just
yeah,
writing a song.
yeah.
And in fact, we'll have to talk more about some other ideas that I've got coming up, but that's for a different conversation. But um, yeah, I've always kind of felt like I want to make my music cinematic and thematic
Mm,
versus versus writing a song. That's always been the idea in the back of my mind. So,
yeah.
telling a story and allowing the music to tell the story as much as the lyrics is
Mm,
always something that is at the front of my mind when I'm writing a song.
yeah, yeah. I think too, I don't know if I had mentioned this to you before, but like I think because of those kind of things that you're talking about, there's something like Rush about it, you know? Like I almost feel like this could be a song off of Moving Pictures or something, you know? Or
No,
are you are you a fan of Rush at all? I'm a huge fan, so that's coming from
uh,
of love.
I enjoy listening to Rush. I was
Yeah,
never a big diehard fan. I didn't
I know.
listen to
Okay.
them a lot, but if the song plays, I won't skip the track.
Yeah,
So I
or
like what they
or
do.
like maybe Yes or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely. Definitely, that 70s, 80s era prog rock. Yeah, I
yeah,
grew up on that. So
yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and even Rush to some extent. But
Well, I
those
think it's
types
safe to
of
say that Rush wouldn't have happened without Yes, probably.
right, right. I'm a big fan of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, if you've ever
Oh
listened
yeah,
to them.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yep. And so a lot of that, I think a lot of that prog rock probably finds its way subconsciously into my music because yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of it.
Yeah, but it's like you've somehow simplified it into this kind of I don't know what you call your music, but it's simplified into like a synth pop uh, offering. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
somehow it's still got all these cool details. You know, I mean, from the very start, the like that beautiful like that arpeggio starts on the synth, right?
Yep.
In the beginning, yeah. It's so beautiful, and then, or I wanted to ask, did your wife write her melodies too, or did you write the melodies? Like, hey, why don't you sing something like this? You know?
I wrote the initial melodies, and then she kind of did her own thing when she recorded it. Yeah, so I kind of like demoed out what I was thinking,
Yeah,
and then she just took it from there and made it her own.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Because it's such an interesting melody that she comes in with. I like. I never would have. You know, it really surprised me. Like, I never would have thought of that over that like synth arpeggio thing, and I just thought it was just like you know, it's like a breath of fresh, wonderful air. You know?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in fact when I was writing the song and I was showing her some of the original demos without any vocals, that was kind of the first thing she said. She was like, "That sounds like it needs that sounds like it needs me to sing on the verses." I was like, "Okay, let's do it." So, yep.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yep.
And I'm wondering because I feel like I'm hearing too. Do you think like singing with her, it drew something extra out of you and your vocal?
Yeah, I think I always have to try to be better on my vocals
Right.
when I'm being forced to sing along with somebody that's a much better vocalist than I am. Um, and so yeah, I think so. I would agree with that for sure,
Yeah.
consciously or subconsciously.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I don't think I ever heard you go up to this like that higher thing where what is the line like dun, dun, didn't understand or whatever, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, in the chorus.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a yeah, tear down what we don't
Yeah,
understand
tear
goes up
down
a little
what
higher.
we don't understand. Yeah, so good.
Yep.
Yeah, but it really
Yeah,
it was
thanks.
like yeah, I felt when I heard that line, I felt like, oh, I think he's trying to like, you know, show off for you know, match the match the
Maybe a little. Maybe a little, yeah.
Hey, what do you think of that, honey?
Right, right. In the past, she was always the lead vocalist and I was just singing some harmonies. So
Oh,
me
is that
being
right?
a lead vocalist on any of this stuff is quite out of the ordinary for me actually.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, talk a little bit
Yeah.
about your musical past with her and how that developed.
Yeah, we in fact when we started dating, it was based on me asking her to be a singer in a band. And
Ah,
um, the band didn't last, but the the relationship did.
that's
So over the years, we've done a handful of different things, whether it was just kind of, mostly just us playing an acoustic guitar and singing together and things like that. 'Cause that's what we had and that's what we could do. But yeah, it's been a lot of years of different musical adventures, and
yeah.
we're diving back into it now, I guess.
And then the technology came along the way. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
right.
now
I
we can
don't have
really have
to,
some fun.
right. I don't have to go spend a few $1,000s to have
Oh
some
my
like
God. I know.
person record one song for me and have it sound okay.
I often like, I mean, I had a real like mental, with and stopped recording music for like many years, but that was also part of it is just the cost, of
Yep.
like going into a studio, it's just totally insane. Either that or you have to make some kind of deal that's like, written in blood and promises away
Right.
God knows what.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
whatever. Just let me record the album.
Yep. Yeah,
And
you're exactly right.
then having three young kids, right at the time where like the digital recording came along, and I was like, okay, well, this is the only way that this is possible, but I could do it now, and it's just like,
Right.
and it's just gotten better and better and better. It's just crazy, the technology. It's like, yeah,
I love it for sure. That was the thing that kind of brought me back into it like a year ago was just the fact that I could do it myself at home, and that was never a thing in the past. So it's
yeah.
great. It's really great.
What about when you're like a younger kid? Did you always want to be a musician or did you have a vision about what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I grew up with music in the house. Actually, my dad was in bands, so I just always grew up with that.
Oh,
So
cool.
I think I started playing bass guitar when I was maybe 12, and just like bands
Oh,
through high
okay.
school,
Yeah.
did the whole garage band thing and all that. So it's always been a thing. Obviously, like you say, it comes and goes based on how fast life comes at you. But more than anything, this was starting this project was just the fact that I needed an artistic outlet. I hadn't done it for a long time, and I needed it. And like you said, with the technology and everything else, and it was a great opportunity to get that artistic outlet that I hadn't had.
Yeah, it's interesting to find out that you were initially a bass player because song also has a really cool groove, and and I've heard that with you before, where you do interesting things, just with simple things, simple drum patterns and bass things, but it has the feel that it's like not in 4/4 time, but it is in 4/4 time, like some kind of, I think it's in 4/4 time, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Most
this
of the
one is,
stuff you do,
yes.
yeah, yeah. And
Yep.
but there's like these rhythmic things you do that are like also really interesting, and it makes
Right.
sense that you're a bass player too, because it also has a really good groove, even though it's a synth, like a synth bass, right? On
Yep.
this one.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like every song I write starts with bass and drums because
Yeah.
that's how it works for me. That's how
Yeah.
it works in my brain. So if I don't come up with something that's just bass and drums that I'm kind of nodding my head to, it gets set aside for the moment, and then the synths and the guitars and everything come in after that. But that's my writing process because that's where it was for me for so long. In fact, one of the one of the things that I did in high school with a friend was literally just a bass and drum combo, like band. And
Oh, nice.
so yeah, it's just that's ingrained in me more than anything.
Yeah, yeah. And when did you start moving over to guitar? Or I mean, I think of you as a
Um,
more of a guitar player first, but
yeah,
you still
it's
think of yourself as a bass player first.
I would probably still consider myself as a bass player first.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, bass and guitar together, I've always just played, but I focused so much on bass guitar that the guitar was just play some chords, learn some songs, maybe write some songs here and there. Really, I think just during COVID, I was like, I want to become a better guitar player.
Okay,
And so I started doing some online lessons and I started really focusing on
cool.
not just playing chords, but learning theory and really learning how to solo and really learning how all of that works together and kind of set the bass aside and picked the guitar up and that's been my focus for a few years now and that's where it came in that it probably feels a little bit more like um, me being a guitar player versus a bass player. It's the focus I decided to take.
Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I love I mean, I love the guitar tone in this too because it just kind of rests easy on everything. And I love how you are you actually like doing a harmony of the synth arpeggio, or do you do the same arpeggio thing? Like when you come in with it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's in the last chorus, there's a little bit of a very subtle kind of higher guitar that kind of follows that synth pattern a little bit, just to
Yeah.
add a little more intrigue to it, a little more build up. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Everyone go
thank you.
listen to this song over and over. I don't get tired of it either. That's another thing that's like really interesting with all this because there's kind of like all these different parts going on and it keeps your interest, you know. It really
Yeah,
keeps your interest over repeated listens, you know.
I'm happy to hear that. Very happy to hear that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and also like, yeah, I also really like your guitar parts. On I remember, well, I guess we could talk a little bit because I actually did a post without asking you, announcing that we have a collaboration coming up.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No worries.
I should have asked you if that's all right if I announced that.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good.
But is it because I think you said at one point too on that one that you were like, yeah, I think I'm gonna put a guitar solo.
Yeah.
I think it's almost done, but I'm gonna throw a guitar solo.
Yeah, I don't think I actually did on that one, but I'm sure I was considering it.
But at any rate, it's like there. I always love guitar players that you know when that really serve the song. You know that it doesn't turn into a you know just guitar fireworks. You know
Right, right.
scenario.
Yeah, that probably comes from the fact that I'm not a guitar player first, and so I think the bass and the drums end up being a little bit more of the star in a lot of my songs, and the guitar is just a layer sitting on top of it. But yeah, that's probably where
Well,
that comes from. But
yeah, but I think it really serves the song because it's like I mean, look at like George Harrison, you know, of course he could have
yep,
played more complicated parts, but he just found what was like melodically, you know, served the song and just like added to the beauty of it. You know what I mean?
right,
Instead of being
right.
like, hey, look at me during this part, you know.
Yeah, you got to be strategic about it, I think. Um, I listen to a lot of Pink Floyd as well, and I think they did a great job of that too. Where, I mean,
Oh yeah,
David
that's right.
Gilmour was
Yeah, yeah,
an amazing guitarist and would throw some of the craziest solos out there, but just at the perfect time where the emotion was there and the solo just elevated it. And
yeah,
I think I try to do that. If I'm going to put the guitar out front, there's got to be a real reason behind it. There's got to be an emotional reason behind it, not just I want to play a solo.
mm, mm, yeah. Are there any future plans with the Mrs. singing somewhere?
Potentially, potentially. I don't have anything necessarily in the works that we're talking through right now, but I've got a lot of releases that are already done and just waiting to come out. So I'm working on some stuff for the fall that, yeah, we'll see.
Oh,
But
nice.
we're working on some other things. So some other artistic adventures.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, that must be so much fun. Yeah. I've
yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a relationship like that where we of course I have brain damage, so I might be for uh someone might be out there cursing me right now, but yeah, I've always wanted to do that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's so
it's
cool.
nice. You don't have to like go to a rehearsal space and wait for somebody to show up because you're just you're just there.
Yeah, but also I really think it matters that there's like, you know, the love there and you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like then you're really approaching things, everything with this loving care, you know,
Yep.
that you just won't get out of like, you know, even your best friend or something, you know. It's like
Right.
that's a
Right. It's
special yeah.
yeah, there's definitely a different feel there for sure.
Yeah. Well, man, I thank you so much for doing this, and I thank you so much for inspiring me to make a go of this show again. You know,
Yeah. Well, like I
as
said, I'm oh sorry, I was just gonna say, like I said, I'm honored to that I that I created something that inspired you. That makes me very happy.
yeah, man. You know, as you may know, I'm in a psychiatric hospital right now. So I'm broadcasting from my hospital room here, which I want to mention to people too because you know I think there still is like a stigma about uh, you know having a mental illness, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that I'm doing, you know, I've suffered from depression, um, you know, lifelong depression that sometimes was suicidal, you know, and that's what's landed me here in the hospital. But I'm getting great care, and you know, the number one thing is to ask for help. I just want to say that out loud. If you're, you know, at home feeling these things, you know, don't feel them alone. And I know it's like the hardest thing is to ask for help sometimes, you know, you just have to like rehearse it. I mean, I do. I have to rehearse it in my mind, you know, and think, hey, next time I'm feeling this kind of stuff, I'm gonna ask for help, you know. Even I'm gonna push
Yeah.
the button, you know, on in the for the nurse or whatever. So
Right.
um
Absolutely. Well, I applaud you, and as a fellow anxiety and depression lifelong sufferer, I
oh, is
applaud
that
you,
right?
and
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and we want you here, and anybody out
Yeah.
there listening as well, we want you here, and listen to
Yeah,
Scott,
man.
ask for help.
Yeah, you know, and I really appreciate that, but it's like, I mean, if you then you will know, you know, it's like no matter how loved you know you are, or how, like, or people say, hey, what do you mean? People love you. Oh, you got 3 kids. Da, da, da. But when you're in this condition, you can so quickly believe that people are better off without you. And it's
Absolutely.
not logical, it's not a logical
Yep.
disease at all. So that's the
Yep.
thing, is just to train to ask for help. But
Absolutely.
yeah, man, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And everyone, go listen to Burn. Amazing, amazing song, and excellent job, Mrs. Wayward. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks, Scott. See ya.